All right, let's dive into one of the biggest stories happening in tech right now, India's massive push to become a global player in artificial intelligence. It's a story of huge ambition, billions of dollars, but lurking just beneath the surface is a major problem, a head-on collision with a much older challenge, the country's really serious water crisis.
So that really brings us to the core question here, doesn't it? How can India race towards this incredible, high-tech, AI-powered future when the very building blocks of that future might just drain its most vital resource dry? You can see it right there. It is a seriously high-stakes game.
Okay, first up, let's talk about the sheer scale of India's AI ambitions. To really get what's going on, you have to understand this isn't some small, incremental step. No, this is a massive leap forward, and it's being bankrolled by some of the biggest names you can imagine. And wow, that right there, that's the sound of pure ambition. You hear that? Mukesh Ambani isn't just talking about, building a data center. He's talking about turning Jamnagar into a world leader. The vision here is absolutely massive. And it's not just him, not by a long shot. You've also got Gautam Adani putting a staggering $10 billion on the table for data centers all over the country. Now, when you see titans of industry like this investing on this kind of scale, it tells you one thing. This is a national priority. This is about dominating the future of AI. Okay, so we've got the vision, we've got the money. But here's where the story takes a really sharp turn. You see, with everyone talking about gigawatts of power and petabytes of data, there's this one crucial thing that's been left out of the conversation. And that's the absolutely insane amount of water these places need just to run. Just let this number sink in for a second. 2 million liters. And that's not for a year, not for a month. That's every single day. And we're just talking about a typical 100-megawatt data center here. All that water is just to stop thousands and thousands of servers from, melting. It's a staggering amount, almost hard to even picture.
But, and this is where it gets really alarming, the data centers India is planning, they're not typical. Not at all. We're talking about massive gigawatt-scale hubs. So you can take that already mind-boggling number we just saw and multiply it, maybe by up to 30 times. The potential water demand is just off the charts.
Now let's add some really important context here, because this isn't happening in a place with water to spare. Far from it. As you can see, India's water system is already stretched to the breaking point. Think about it. Forecasts say nearly half the country's cities could run out of drinking water by 2030. And right now, today, 163 million people don't even have access to clean water. Okay, and this slide, this is where it all comes together in a pretty shocking way. Just look at where these massive data center hubs are planned. Navi Mumbai, Delhi, Chennai, Hyderabad. What do they all have in common? Every single one of them is already facing a huge daily water shortage. We're literally planning to build the thirstiest industry imaginable in the places that are already the driest. It's a collision course. And if you're thinking, okay, but this is all just a potential problem, right? Well, no, it's really not. We actually have a real-world case study. We can just look over to the United States to get a glimpse of what India's future might look like if this goes unchecked. So take a look at Georgia in the US. It's become a huge hub for data centers. And it all started with these amazing promises. Billions in investment, new jobs, economic growth. But for the people actually living there, the reality has been very different. We're talking drying rivers, water shortages for residents, and just general environmental chaos. It's a classic case of the boardroom promises not matching up with what happens on the ground. And this quote from a resident there, man, it just hits you. This isn't about spreadsheets and abstract numbers anymore. This is about real people watching their environment, the places they love, just get destroyed. It's a really powerful reminder of the human side of all this. So at this point, you have to be asking the obvious question, right? With all these huge environmental risks, why on earth is India pushing ahead so hard? I mean, why not just pump the brakes a little or even stop?
And this is where we get to the heart of the dilemma. Because the answer is they can't. It turns out, for a country like India, this isn't really a choice anymore. It's become an absolute necessity. And it all comes down to one critical idea that's shaping the 21st century: national security.
Okay, look at this. This chart tells you everything you need to know. People in India are generating a huge amount of the world's data, like 20% of it. But look at how much of that data is actually stored in India, a tiny 3%. That massive gap, that's not just a statistic, that is a major strategic vulnerability. And this leads us to this critical concept called data sovereignty. It sounds complicated, but the idea is actually super simple. Basically, whoever's country the physical server is in, their laws apply to the data on it. So if your country's data is stored somewhere else, well, that other country is the one in control.
Here's a great real-world example to make this crystal clear: the Microsoft case in Ireland. So the US government wanted to get some emails for a court case. The catch? The data was on a server in Ireland. Microsoft said, nope, sorry, that server is in Ireland, so Irish and EU privacy laws apply, and they won. It proved once and for all that the physical location of that server is everything. So here's the bottom line. When you think about everything from national security and spying to just basic law enforcement to protecting your country's financial systems, if you don't control your own data physically, you're basically handing the keys to your future to someone else. This isn't just about being a tech leader, it's about being a sovereign nation. All right, so we have the dream of an AI superpower on one hand, and the nightmare of a water crisis on the other. So the question isn't, should we stop? The question is, how do we do this the smart way? What does a sustainable path actually look like? Well, here's a pretty clear three-point plan. First off, you have to mandate the use of recycled water from day one. Don't touch the fresh drinking water. It's a no-brainer. Second, you have to go all in on renewables. Solar, wind, you name it, because these things use a ton of energy. And third, and this might be the most important part, you have to make sure all this development is actually making life better for citizens, not just making money for big corporations. And that brings us to the final crucial question. Can India actually pull this off? Can it innovate its way to a powerful AI future without sacrificing the one thing it can't live without? Its water. India is at a crossroads, no doubt about it. It has the ambition, it has the money, it has the need. But in the end, true success won't just be measured in processing power. It'll be measured by how well it protects its own people and its most vital, finite resource.